That's it. Don't rush.
Hello, I'm Coach John Shepherd, and we're going to take a look at some questions that have been sent in to the channel, and these all relate to plyometrics. There were quite a few responses and questions to the latest video on the channel on partial plyometrics. Okay, the first question comes in from Peter, and it's quite a common one, and it's to do with the level of weight training that an athlete should do before they do high intensity plyometric exercises. If you look back to some older textbooks and even some more recent sports science, there'll often be ratios of squat percentage of 1 repetition maximum and times body weight that you should be able to do before you do plyometric exercises. If my memory serves me correctly, it used to be around about 1.5 times body weight in a squat before you should do plyometrics, whether those be high intensity or even of a lower intensity. I have, however, as have a lot of other coaches, found that you can do relatively intense plyometrics almost from day one when training young athletes, and of course it becomes much more simpler with mature athletes. You can build a base on which to build specific plyometric ability and robustness from introducing different types of plyometrics. For example, the partial ones that were described in the recent video. I've also found that low height drop jumps off of 20, 30 centimeters or even lower than 20 centimeters, such as a mat, can be easily done by young athletes with little potential for harm. There are, however, other plyometrics that do need a careful progression too. You wouldn't, for example, have a novice jumper running off 8 to 10 steps to do 2 bounds and a jump from a low plyometric box or platform, for example. The notion that you need basic strength, however, I think is one that can be challenged. If you think about it, why would being able to squat X amount of body weight really assist you with your plyometrics? The contact time, the time that you have to express force, is going to be so much greater in a plyometric exercise. Even if you squat as fast as you can, you're going to be looking at about 0.5 of a second, whereas we're dealing in milliseconds for plyometric contacts. The times body weight that you're going to have to overcome in those milliseconds on plyometric exercises is also going to be far greater than that which you will encounter when weightlifting. So if you have a long jumper, they're going to be taking off with 6 to 10 times body weight, yet you may think that they need to be able to squat 1.5 times their body weight before they do high intensity plyometrics, bearing in mind with that example that the long jump takeoff is plyometric. That's why I think the older notions of being able to squat a certain amount before doing certain types of plyometrics is not necessarily valid. Now, having said that, there is a need for weight training and other exercises, and by that I'm referring to ones which create greater robustness in the body. Therefore, single leg squats and lunges, for example, creating greater stability in the hip, knee and ankle and strengthening soft tissue. But you don't necessarily need to be able to squat or lunge, for example, 1.5 times your body weight in order to develop that robustness. And you can use plyometric exercises to develop greater robustness to withstand the forces of the more intense ones. You can use lateral movement plyometrics, going sideways, backwards and forwards, in order to create greater stability in the joints, which will help you when you move up to more intense levels. One thing that I will also add is that just because a plyometric exercise is more intense, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's better than a lower intensity one. Basically, you've got to mix and match all the types of plyometric exercises that there are out there that you think are going to improve your specific long or triple jumper. I, for example, will interweave all the different types, all the types that I use, I should say, into a training program that brings the plyometric ability of the jumper up to a level where they can optimally take off for the long jump or withstand the landing forces for the 3 takeoffs for the triple jump. There will be a variation between the long and triple jump in terms of the plyometrics that the jumpers do, but I'll save that for another video. Okay, the next question comes from R810SSJ, and he asks about the surface on which you should do or can do drop jumps from. And he specifically talks about drop jumping onto concrete, which potentially could be a necessity in these COVID enforced times. Well, it's better in my mind to do drop jumps onto concrete than it is to do them on grass, for example, if those are your choices. Obviously, a track or a gym floor is the better surface. Basically, to optimize your drop jump, you need to react as quickly as you can to the contact. And of course, if you're using grass, for example, the grass is going to absorb some of that impact and you're going to lose some of the force return. Now, of course, if you're wearing trainers as well, those are going to absorb some of the impact. So ideally, you don't want to be wearing too thick-soled shoes if you really want to optimize the transference of the plyometric drop jump into your performance. Now, obviously, and relating back a little bit to the first question, we have to look at injury management. Doing too many plyometrics in thin-soled shoes could be a recipe for bringing about injury. So we have to moderate what we do and how we do it. But returning to the question and the specifics of it, I would recommend under lockdown requirements that if you need to do drop jumps, and I do recommend that you do them on concrete as opposed to grass. Another plyometric question that comes up very regularly is on the difference between a drop jump and a depth jump. Now, as far as I understand it, a drop jump requires the athlete, the jumper, to react as quickly as they can from 2 feet to the contact. So minimal knee bend, slightly forefoot landing, and you react as quickly as you can. However, a depth jump is a flat-footed contact, and the objective is to generate as much vertical lift as possible. Therefore, the jumper is more likely to spend a little bit more time on the ground in doing so. I would therefore interchange both types throughout the training program so that you get benefits from both methods. I do want to signpost you to the lockdown restricted access area workouts that I've generated over the last year or so on the channel. Many of us are having difficulties training at the moment, and you've got to think out of the box and create workouts that are going to have a very similar effect to what you'd normally be doing if you had access to tracks and gyms. If you would like information on the FREELAP timing system, which is accurate to 2/1000th of a second and is extremely portable and works via Bluetooth and your smart device, then do get in contact with me. Likewise, if you'd like information on the NeuroCore MyTouch bioelectricity device, which is great for recovery, injury rehabilitation, sports massage, and even the enhancement of sports performance, then do get in contact. As usual, thanks for watching, and do subscribe to the channel and leave any comments you may have in the section below or through my other social media. Do you want to improve your coaching, or do you want to become a better athlete? And why not become a channel member? Here are some examples of the content you're missing out on. Each month we delve into a specific coaching topic. I back up practical experience with coaching theory and sports science. The aim is to cover everything that will impact on you as a coach or an athlete, from technique work to training planning. Okay, in this video we're going to take a look at training planning. Now, I'm producing this video at the beginning of the training year, so that's the time when the majority of athletes will either be starting back training or just about to start training. To find out more, head over to the channel's homepage and click on the Join button. As well as exclusive video content, coach athlete members and above will also gain access to biomechanical reports and analysis, written posts and articles, and sports science. In time, I hope to be able to offer live streams. Check out all the information you get as a member on the community page once you've signed up, and there you'll gain access to the videos and the other exclusive content.